Hey guys, um, my name's Chris. Um, Today I'm 5 years on iRacing. As you can see here, I registered 5 years ago on the 1st of April in 2020 for iRacing, and I thought it might be a fun idea to make a video about my sim racing journey. And I've never done anything like this before, so there won't be any cutting or editing or any funky stuff, which costs a lot of time. It will be a rough video with no funky looking effects or anything like that, but it's just basically me talking. I will show you a few pictures of my journey, and yeah. So yeah, I started iRacing 5 years ago during the COVID pandemic. Um, there was this lockdown. I had to work from home. I was bored and I was looking for something fun to do. And yeah, and I registered for iRacing. And since then, I've done 151 races in the new license for the sports car, and also for the retired road license. I did 713 races, so in total I did 864 races, official races in iRacing. And yeah, today I have an I rating of 4,121 in the sports car license. And yeah, so how did it all start? It all started with this guy here, Michael Schumacher. I think for many, at least in Germany, it started with him. And yeah, it was 1995 at this specific Grand Prix. So that was the race in the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. And I didn't see it, but I heard about it in the radio. And Michael Schumacher didn't win this one. He was only second. But in the beginning, he was leading the race, and then he had a gearbox issue that caused that he had only the fifth gear was available to him, so he couldn't shift anymore. He had only the fifth gear, and he still managed to finish second in that race. And yeah, I heard about it in the radio, and then I asked my parents that I really would love to see the next race, and yeah, that all started with my motorsport interest. And so from then on, I watched very often Formula One. I think starting with the '96 season, I saw all of the races, I think. And yeah, in 1994, I was 8 years old, so that's when it all started. And I have to say, my dad isn't a motorsport fan at all, so I don't know where it came from. I just heard about it and was really fascinated. So yeah, that's how it started. Yeah, and then early on, I also had a PC, and then of course I had a racing game. It was called Grand Prix, so that was the Formula One racing game. I was playing with a keyboard and a mouse. Later on the PlayStation, of course, I played a lot of Gran Turismo, and then I also had my first wheel and my first pedals, and I mounted them to an ironing board. So that was my desk where I put it on, and yeah, and then I think in my early 20s or something, then I started studying and partying. So there was not a lot of time for that. But yeah, in between, in 2009 and 2010, I had, let's say, my first comeback to racing. So I started to do R Factor. So that was 2009, 2010. Still racing on the desk, of course. And yeah, but that was only these 2 years. And for that, I have pictures. So that was my room back then. So basically a mattress on the floor and a lot of garbage lying around, and you can already see here the steering wheel. And yeah, that was Logitech, I think DFP Driving Force Pro or something. I have no idea. I think that was the name. As you can see, I already had a flat screen, but it was only 4:3 ratio. And I also had a second monitor, so that was a old school old monitor. So by the way, that's my TV here. Also not flat. And yeah, the second monitor I had for overlays and statistics, so I could see that during the race. Yeah, and so for R Factor, I was racing in a league, so these were my first online races, and yeah, that was really fun. And you had like TeamSpeak, you could talk to the others, and it was every Friday the same people, like 20 or 30 people racing there, which was really fun. And yeah, but then yeah, I stopped it again. I was still young, still had many other interests, let's say it like that. And yeah, and then I started with iRacing later. So yeah, and then and before I started with iRacing, I already bought another steering wheel, because at that time I was playing a lot of PlayStation 4, and I thought, okay, I buy a steering wheel. So I bought the Thrustmaster T150, and because you could also connect it to the PlayStation, and so I bought for the PlayStation Assetto Corsa, which was quite cheap at that time. I think it was like 20 euros or something. So that was my first little step back, and I used this. I think this is a 24-inch monitor or something. So that was only for fun, and no online racing or anything like that. Yeah, but then things became serious, and I was during the lockdown. As I said, I was bored, so I was starting to watch YouTube videos on about iRacing, and I was really fascinated about it, especially the ranking system and all the races that are taking place all the time around the clock. And yeah, I was like a German engineer. I was looking at the video and taking notes. You can already see here. So setup. It's saying Craig's setup shop. Auto design, trading paints, crew chief, JRT, caps. So, but caps I wrote with C because I didn't know. So yeah, that was the preparation for it. Yeah, then I just for iRacing, especially only for iRacing, I had to buy a PC because I didn't have one. So I only had like a laptop, and that was it. So I just bought online PC, because at that time, as I said, there was lockdown. You couldn't go into a store, buy anything. And at that time, my knowledge wasn't very good about gaming PCs or anything. So I just quite randomly bought this one. I think I paid like 600 or 800 euros for it. And then I also bought one monitor, like a 27-inch monitor. And yeah, that was today, 5 years ago. That was the laptop on the desk. And yeah, that was my setup back at the time. So it was at the side of the desk, because left side of it, I still had my setup for the home office. And yeah, and that was my setup with this chair. And that's how I started. And yeah, how did I start? Basically, I started with a clear goal. I wanted to do GT3 racing as quickly as possible, because I thought, yeah, that these are cool cars. And also what I really liked is that there are so many manufacturers and so many different cars. So I wanted to do that. So what I did, I started with Mazda MX-5, of course, and then so in the rookies, and then after that I was in D class, and then back at the time what was for free was in the Global Sports Car Challenge. I think it still exists. There was the Cadillac CTS-V. So that car was also for free because, of course, I had to look that I don't want to spend too much money on it in the beginning. And after that, you were already able to race GT3s back at the time. So only Mazda MX-5, then the Cadillac CTS-V, and then after that, straight away GT3. So yeah, so like I said, in the 1st of April, I started with it, and my first GT3 race was only 19 days later. So it was the 19th April of 2020. Yeah, here I was promoted a Class D road license here, also with the retired website in the background. Yeah, and later I also had an ironing board, but only for my keyboard and for the mouse. And these were the first days. Yeah, I think actually that's the Cadillac CTS V here. I think I was racing that at Tsukuba, and I think ever since I've never raced this circuit again. Yeah, me giving thumbs up. And down here below the table, you can see there's like this plastic box, and this was there so that my pedals wouldn't go away. Yeah. So yeah, that's me in the. That's how I started in the Mercedes GT3. Yeah, I think that was also in April 2020. So that was my first GT3 car, and I think I had it for quite some time. This back at the time, this was considered the perfect beginner car because it was easy to drive, and it was also really competitive at the time. But yeah, of course, in the beginning, it doesn't matter. And yeah, and after that, I drove a lot the Audi at the time. So yeah, then the next step, my Simric with aluminum profile. So that's how I got it, and that was in October 2020. I bought it. So like 6 months after. I can tell you it was really not easy to convince my wife to do that because of the space that we need for it. But yeah, I was persistent, and finally I convinced her that it was a good idea. Yeah, so that was my first rig, my first seat, and yeah, that was a huge change. Still with my Thrustmaster T150 mounted here. Me sitting there smiling, and of course the first settings in a rig like that, they were like horrible, and yeah, I've changed it ever since like a million times, I think, until I have the settings that I have today. But still today I still have the base frame is still the same, so it's still the same aluminum profile thing here. I haven't changed that. Yeah, and also I forced my wife to take pictures of me because I wanted to see the profile of me from the side, how I'm sitting there, and how it looks. Yeah. So that was the beginning of my Simric. Then here with the mouse tray still made from cardboard, and here with all my notes. I think these were notes for voice commands for crew chief. Then my first, I bought myself like a numpad, so that was my cheap button box, and then I printed out what you can control with it. So voice chat mute, voice chat plus minus, ABC, ABS on off, TC on off, stuff like that. And worked pretty nice. And it was like cheap. I think numpad cost like, I don't know, 10 euros or something like that. So for the beginning, it was a really nice idea. Yeah, and then with the Simric, then I was also able to buy me load cell pedals, of course, because for load cell pedals you need to mount them on something, because otherwise you cannot operate them. So I bought the Fanatic Elite CSL. Yeah, I think that was the name. And of course, I spent hours and hours to put it all together. Yeah, and in the end, it looked like that, my first Simbrick. And I thought it was a smart idea to have like the PC here on the rig, until I think later I found out I had like little stutters and stuff, and I was wondering, and I found out that the cable connection from my graphic cards was loose because of all of the vibrations from the Simric. So yeah, ever since I put it next to the Simric, and don't ever put it on your Simric. That's really a huge mistake. You shouldn't do that. It's not good for the PC. All the vibrations coming from the Simric. Yeah, it was really cool. So I had like here this thing for my headphone, and here for the keyboard, and then I had like a little USB ventilator, and yeah, it was just nice and neat. Here a little webcam, here for the drinks, and here, as I said, the numpad. Yeah, really liked that a lot, as you can see. And yeah, and also like a month after that, in November 2020, then I heard I hit the 2000 iRating. Yeah, because of the rig, I think, because if you're every time in the same position, that helps a lot. And yeah, and what I did, because my wife really hated the look of this, and as I said, it took a bit of time to convince her to do it. I had the idea, so I put it in this corner of the room, and then buy these things here and hide it, yeah, in the day. Yeah, but it was really good, so that worked out fine. So the room wasn't too ugly then. Yeah, and then after that, I was experimenting a bit with head tracking, but that's shit for iRacing. That doesn't work. It made me sick, actually, and you lose the feeling for the car. Yeah, that was my nice little corner there. My load cell pedals. Again, me sitting there, trying to figure something out. And then, yeah, only a couple months later, in January 2021, I bought a new wheelbase and a new wheel. So, and back then what I bought was back then there weren't these cheap direct drive wheelbases available. So the cheapest direct drive wheelbase at the time was, I think, the Fanatic DD1. And I think back at the time it was well above €1,000, and I didn't want to spend that. So at the time, what was the mid-range thing here was the Fanatic Club Sport V 2.5 wheelbase. I think that cost like €550 or something like that. And then a McLaren GT3 V2 steering wheel, which was full plastic. But yeah, back at the time, of course, it was really nice for me. Yeah, and then the next landmark was also in the same month. Then I hit the 2,500 iRating in January. So basically, yeah, wasn't even a year in iRacing, then I had 2500. Yeah, and then of course, if you have a new wheelbase, you have to adjust everything, like the height of the monitors, and everything is out of sync again, and you have to adjust it. Yeah. Yeah, that was my setup at the time. Still in the Mercedes GT3. With the single monitor. Yeah, with here all the things here, so that you know which button is which. Happy me sitting in my rig. Again, happy me. And then here, as you can see, the first win, it took a long time. The first win was actually in September 2021. So it was 1.5 years after I started with iRacing. And the funny thing is, with the first win, is it was the day before my wedding. And at that day, I was already very, very, very nervous because of that wedding. And I thought, okay, I will have a race so that I'm distracted, and I wanted to get rid of that nervosity. And so I did the race. And I was so nervous during the race because I realized, shit, I actually can win this. And I was so nervous. Yeah, but I managed the day before my wedding. I won my first race. And then I got married the next day. Funny little story. Yeah, here you can see. In Canada. And in the BMW M4 GT3. That was like I think the third GT3 that I was racing after the Mercedes and Audi. Then I was racing the BMW quite a lot. So next step, triple monitors. Triple monitors were then in November 2021, so 1.5 years after I started it. So I bought triples. So I bought 2 more of the same monitor. I bought the triple stand, and I also bought a new PC because the old one could not have handled that. Yeah, and boy, I mean, so the first really huge step is to have the sim rig, but the second one is definitely like triples. Triples are just amazing, yeah. And you can see just consumed even more space, but yeah. By the time that was then okay for my wife, she got used to it, and she accepted it more and more. So yeah, but as you can see, I still have the PC on the rig, so don't do that. Bad idea. Really bad idea. Yeah, and then I had the Simric, of course, also hidden behind these mobile walls. And then only a month later, I bought my first bucket seat, which was also a huge change, because before the seat, it was comfortable, but you could just here the back you could adjust. So, but that meant it wasn't stable. So it was always moving a bit. So if you were braking, the seat was going backwards. And yeah, then the change to a bucket seat was huge, because all the force you pressed into the brake pedal is going into the brake pedal and not into the seat. So that was also a huge step. And just videos. We can skip them, I think. Skip. Yeah, and then in March 2022, so almost like 2 years after I registered for iRacing, then I was hitting the 3000 Iracing mark. And a month before, in February 2022, I joined my first team. So that was Mad Simsport. And yeah, and also I did my first special event with them. So that was also then in March 2022. It was Sebring, and I then did a lot more endurance races with them and also some special events. Yeah, that was my first team. So you can see here, I also had like a little thing here for, I think for my smartphone to use it as dashboard. And I bought a Stream Deck. I still can highly recommend it, and it's a tiny bit better than a numpad. Yeah. And here I have like this clothing, old clothing or something wrapped around here, so that for as a heel rest, so it's nice and comfortable. Yeah, it's a little bit dusty in there. So that's a friend of mine racing there, so I won't show him too long. Yeah, and then you can see I changed pedals from the Elite Fanatic Elite load cell pedals to the VRS Sprints. So that was my first like high-end hardware that I bought. So that was in June 2022. Yeah, and you know, it was again a huge step. I mean, VRS pedals against the beginners fanatic stuff, that was just insane. Also what you can adjust, and the feeling and the sensitivity, it was insane. And today the setup here is exactly the same, by the way. So I have exactly the same pedals here, and also this red thing here is exactly the same. Never changed it since then. So when was that? That was in 2022. So yeah, 3 years ago. It's exactly the same, with the same red old ugly stuff here. But it's working. So, and it was a dashboard on my smartphone. Again, the pedals, some stuff from the internet, and also this year. No, I changed this, but still I have on the throttle pedal, I still have some random cardboard from our trash, to be honest. And I just put it there, and because if there's the pedal, I like it that it's sliding under my foot, you know. So the VRS pedal are not that slidey because of these holes in the aluminium here. So this cardboard makes it more slidey, and for the throttle pedal I like that. For the brake I don't need that. Yeah, still that setup with that nice looking cardboard. Yeah, the look of it, as you maybe have noticed, I really don't care. As long as it's working, fuck it. Really, I don't care. Yeah, it had like my smartphone mounted here to the base as a dashboard. I never could understand that you buy like dashboards for like hundreds of euros. I couldn't get over it to spend so much money for a dashboard, so I just use old smartphone. Was good enough for me. Today I don't use it anymore, by the way. Not over the wheel, because I hate it when you don't see the monitor with the controls there. Yeah, next step, going into high-end hardware. The first step into high-end hardware was that VRS pedals in June. And then in November in the same year, so in 2022, I bought Usher wheel the Asha F64 V3, and I also bought my first direct drive wheelbase. I bought the VRS direct drive. Um, yeah, that was for me. That was again, it was insane. Direct drive blew my mind because up until then, to be honest, in many situations, I really didn't feel the car. I didn't feel the where's the limit of the car, and only with the direct drive I was able to feel it, and it was like a whole new dimension for me driving the cars and yeah, feel it. And yeah, that was a huge step. And yeah, that's still my setup for today. So I still have the VRS pedals, I still have the same bass, and I still have the wheel, and everything is working perfectly fine. No issues, nothing. It's working perfect, and I don't regret any euro I spent on it, because it's just no issues, working all the time, and it's perfect. It's yeah. And for me, doing this like almost every day and having so much fun with it, it's yeah, it's just worth it, definitely. And yeah, and after I bought this new equipment, I was able to hit uh, another mark. So in February 2023, I hit then 3,500 iRating. As you may notice, I made progress over the years, but quite slowly. So I consider myself not very talented, not at all. I'm just very interested, and I'm a very slow learner. Especially with stuff like this. So also in sports, for example, I'm a really slow learner. Um, because it's really taking time for me to understand it and then realize it, to do everything what's to have to do with like sports or motion or anything like that. So I know what to do, for example, trail braking or something like that, but it takes me ages to do it, to actually do it good. Yeah, and but still, I'm having a lot of fun. And also in that time, yeah, I was, as you can see here, I was at 3.4 I rating. So as I said, in February 2023, I was then at 3.5 I rating. And then in March 2023, I quit my old team. I quit my first team, Mad Simsport. I quit, and then only a couple of weeks later, only like 2 weeks later or so, by coincidence, I found my new team. So that was Switch It, and it still is Switch It. So I've been with them for 2 years, and yeah, it's just great community, a lot of fun, great guys. I learned a ton, really a lot, and yeah, that's where I'm racing ever since. Yeah, cool meme in the also from my teammate posted this. Sometimes I wonder if my rig thinks about me as much as I think about it. I really like that. Yeah, that was. I really like to do IMSA a lot. There's a multi-class. I'm still racing GT3 mostly, so you can see here that's yeah the former livery of our team. Now we have a new livery, and yeah, I really like multi-class. So it's really cool to manage the traffic, and that was like a photo finish in Daytona, just a race, which was really cool because he thought it was going another lap, then he was lifting, but it didn't go another lap because the LMDH here just overtook us just before the finish line. So yeah, it was over, and I was ahead of him. I didn't win, but I was ahead of him. That was just yeah, really cool race. Yeah, and then yeah, I experimented a lot with cardboard here, which I painted black because I wanted to do it more. I wanted to have a more immersive feeling in the car because I was still seeing the surroundings above the monitors. So these were the first tests. And here in PowerPoint I did a map for my wheel because I when I don't race for like 2 weeks I forget everything. Yeah. And then we moved, and I'm now in the. I have my own room in a cellar, as you can see. But I like it because no sun and it's cold in summer, so that's perfect. So yeah, that was the beginning of it, and I have here an old desk with an extra monitor here, and then I started to think about what I can do to the room, and I was figuring out that for every special event that I participate in, that I would print out the poster of the event because since 2 years or something like that, iRacing is doing really cool posters for every special event. So yeah, for every special event, I print the posters out and I frame them, and then they're on the wall. So yeah, really liked it. Then again, I started doing it again with experimenting with the cardboards, and the immersive stuff. Yeah, and then I did it. Finally, I did it properly. Yeah, no cardboard anymore. I figured out how I can do it. So I just ordered online this, I don't know, like PVC or PVB or some plastic kind of boards that then I mounted to my monitor stand, and then here this is like a oh boy, like yeah, some stuff here. I don't know the English word, doesn't matter. So yeah, and here I have like a whiteboard, which I like a lot to write things down. Yeah, that's from the top of it, and you have like you can see it how warm it is. Then here is my LED flag, and here I have a Google, how do we call it, Nest or something, so I can control the light and the fan. Yeah, and that's how it looks, and yeah, I really like it. It's I think it's really immersive right now, because yeah, you can only see like black, because yeah, here in the car it's only like the black roof. So I also have here like my also kind of black roof, and yeah, I I really feel like a lot more in car. And that's the new McLaren, which I race very much since the last summer when it came out, because I really like the feeling of it, and also the cockpit of it, because you can see so much, and yeah, really like that. Yeah, and then what can I say more? And yeah, also yeah, last year in no, not last year, the year before. Yeah, in 2023, I bought a new processor again, the 5800X 3D, and last November I also bought a butt kicker, which is really nice. I didn't expect that, but yeah, if you set it up right, if you don't do much effects, only like for me the most important one is the slip angle effect. You can really feel where the car is sliding, and for me that helps really a lot. Yeah, that was my sim racing journey. So 5 years. Three of the last 3 years I've been racing with teams. The last 2 years with my current team Switch It. I'm doing a lot, mostly GT3, as I said. Sometimes, very seldom, GT4 or Porsche Cup, but not very often. I don't do prototypes at all because for me they're too fast. I don't know. I think that would be too stressful, because when I race in GT3, I'm stressed enough, so I'm sweating also a lot. And yeah, it's just an incredible hobby. And I always compared, and before I started with it, I was watching a lot of TV series or something, or football in TV, and I don't do that anymore. I just do racing on the PC, because I always say, if you're watching like TV or something, you just watch something. But if you race online a race against others and compete with them, and then you really every race is a story. You can after a race, I could tell you like 10 minutes or 15 minutes what happened. So you really you live in that race, and you can really yeah, there's something to tell about it. Yeah, you're not just lying around and there's happening something. There's actually happening something. So I really like that a lot. And also talking to my teammates and doing special events. Although the last couple of special events, for at least for me, weren't that good, but yeah, head down. I will continue, and hopefully I will have again a clean special event sometime again. We will see. Yeah, and I also wanted to talk about costs in the end, basically, because in the beginning I never could have imagined how much money I would spend on this. Never, never ever. So, and also in the beginning it will sound very shockingly high what I have spent, but if you break it down over the period of time that I'm doing this and how much I'm doing this, it's not so bad anymore. I would think, because I calculated that I have like spent for hardware already deducted all the stuff that are sold again, because for example, my old wheel or my old wheelbase or my old computer, I sold, of course, after I didn't use it anymore. So the net spendings for my hardware was like 8,000 euros. And for iRacing, so for all the tracks and cars and stuff, I spent, since the beginning, I spent 1,100 euros. So in total, that makes like 9,100 euros in 5 years. If you break it down, then it is per year, it is 1,800 euros. If you break it down per month, then it's, since the beginning, 150 euros per month. And I think 150 euros per month since 5 years, and I'm having this much fun, it's actually it's cheap for me. So yeah, I spend a lot of money, and it costs a lot, but if you have it and then you use it a lot, then I think it's not that expensive. And also you have to say, for iRacing in the beginning, you have to, of course, spend a lot, because you have to buy all the tracks and the cars, but then there's like a decline, because, for example, last year I spent for iRacing 41 euros, and this year I haven't spent anything for iRacing yet. So yeah, this will go down over time. Yeah, so that is my sim racing journey so far. So that's the first 5 years in iRacing, and we will see, how long it still continues. So, but I see, honestly, I see myself still sitting here in 20 years or in 30 years, and when I'm retired, still racing. So my goal definitely is to, when I'm old, like 70, 75, I'm still able to race, because racing it's just fucking amazing. It's so cool. And I don't want to miss it. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Hope that was enjoyable and not too boring. And if it was, I hope you stopped in the, in the middle of it. Yeah, thanks and happy racing. Bye.